Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining me. And we're going to be talking about 8 probiotic foods to always keep in your fridge. Now, I've done some other articles and podcasts about 6 probiotic foods to keep your fridge, 7 probiotic foods to keep your fridge. It just keeps growing because there's so many foods that I'm adding. And I want to explain to you some of the things that I've learned, some of the things that I think could really help you to really help change your microbiome from the inside out. And also, it's so dynamic. Your microbiome is so dynamic, and there's so many different strains, but so many of them do different things. And they kind of work together, and then sometimes they don't work together because some of them compete for dominance in your gut. I mean, it's like a whole city down there. And the more I learn about it, the more interesting it gets and the more health benefits that I've found that I've been getting. So let's dive into this. And I want to explain to you why I like these foods, why I make them all the time, and what they're actually doing for me. And the first one, the main one that I want to start with was Kefir. And that was the very first cultured food that I ever tried. And it really is my go-to food whenever I need extra help. I have it almost every day. I mean, I've just done this for so long. I've used it to do so many things. It prevents colds and flus, or even any kind of illness that's going around. That seems to keep me very healthy. It helps me when I'm struggling with things like anxiety or stress, and Kefir calms me down. The main reason I kept drinking Kefir in the beginning was because I noticed that it lowered my blood pressure and my blood sugar. And that was 21 years ago. And that's when I had all kinds of health problems like diabetes and high blood pressure. And it works like an ACE inhibitor on an enzyme in the stomach that helps naturally lower blood pressure and blood sugar in 1 out of 3 people. Now it's more effective in blood sugar. It seems to be more across the board that it helps with that. But that was the main reason I drank it. But then as the years have gone on and those things normalized for me, I don't have those problems. That was many, many years ago. I also found that Kefir helps calm me down. It helps with things like anxiety or stress. And researchers have established a compelling link between your gut bacteria and your mental health. And believe you me, I am a believer in that because nothing calms me down like Kefir. I couldn't do it without its help. It has just been such a godsend for me. And for instance, even when my body has been taxed with my muscles, I've worked them, lifted weights, or done a lot of exercise, Kefir gives me a boost. It has 14 grams of high quality protein in each cup. And each cup, as you age and as you get older, you need more protein in your diet because your muscles start to decline because you start to lose the muscle. I think at the age of 35, it really starts to go down. And then you want to keep that muscle. It keeps you young. It keeps you healthy. It keeps your organs working properly because you're stimulating it all the time. But you need more protein in your diet to help keep those muscles in place. And so Kefir does that so well. That's one of the biggest reasons I drink so much of it, because it has such a high quality protein. It's also anti-inflammatory. It has 19 anti-inflammatory markers that happen when you consume any of these fermented foods, but especially Kefir, because Kefir has 50 plus probiotics in it. It helps my body recover quickly from things, any kind of stress in my body, whether it's exercise or emotional stress, or if there's been a sickness. I always bounce back faster because I have Kefir. It supplies me with vitamins and minerals that are the building blocks of health. And when I need a quick meal, Kefir is what I reach for. And for that very reason, I have hundreds of recipes in my books, on my blogs, on my website. Guys, I just consume a lot of Kefir. And it's so fast for me. And there's a lot of science behind the power of these 50 microbes. One of the studies that was just done in Stanford said that fermented foods, things like Kefir, Kombucha, cultured vegetables, when people consume them, it had 19 anti-inflammatory markers that were increased in the body. So it's fantastic for doing that. They tested it against fiber foods, and fiber foods did not do that. You got to have the good strains in your gut And especially in that microbiome that's so diverse, you got to have those strains in there to consume the fiber that keeps you healthy. And kefir has more probiotics than any other food. It's one of the easiest ones to make. You just stick a culture in a jar, put your milk, either non-dairy or dairy milk, let it sit on your counter for 24 hours, and you got kefir. It's super easy. And if I had to choose one cultured food of all of them, I would choose kefir because of the benefits that it has given me in my life. It's changed so much for me. And it's my favorite cultured food. So that would be the one that I would choose. I also have an article called 7 Reasons I Drink Kefir Every Day, and I will link that in the description below so you can see that and check it out. It's quite amazing. Now, the second food I always keep in my fridge is Kefir cheese. It is something I use constantly. If something calls for cream cheese, cottage cheese, sour cream, Greek yogurt, I substitute with Kefir cheese because it is just a wonderful tasting, it tastes like sour cream to me. And actually they sell like 3 or 4 different brands of Kefir cheese in stores here where I live. Now that's not common everywhere, but I did see it when I used to live in other parts of the country too. So you can actually buy Kefir cheese now, which is, I think it's 1,000 times better than other things like sour cream. And you can make Kefir cheese very, very easily from some kefir. All you do is you have a jar of kefir on hand. You just take a strainer and put a coffee filter in it. You pour the Kefir cheese in there, cover it with a cloth or I usually use plastic wrap, and stick it in the fridge. And I put the strainer in a bowl, and I just let it strain overnight. And the next day I have a big batch of Kefir cheese, and I use a big strainer with a coffee filter in it. And I'll link the description below. I'll show you step-by-step pictures on how to do that. And you can use Kefir cheese to top your potatoes. You can add extra creaminess to ice cream recipes. It's fantastic if you put a little bit of Kefir cheese in your ice cream, homemade ice cream. It gives it a creaminess that you can't beat. I add it to tacos, top my tacos. We have dips. We have 43 different ways to use your Kefir cheese. And I will link that recipe, that article with all the recipes below. So if you have, Kefir cheese has many benefits. And when the whey drips out, there's a lot of things you can do with the whey that is, it drips out of the cheese. So don't throw that out, because I have an article on what to do with a lot of the kefir whey too, because you can make cultured veggies with it. You can make kefir sodas with it. You can do so much stuff with the whey that is so good for you. And I'll link that for you. This is going to all be in one big article. I'll link that article, and we kind of lay out our website in a really special way to make it easy for you to find things. And like, if I have an article, I usually have a button on there so you can just read the button and say, oh, I want to see that. And we kind of have it blocked off. My website guy's done a really good job designing my website to really make it easy for you. So you're just not getting a bunch of words on a page. You can go to the sections that you're most interested in and find it easily and access everything easily. So, because we have a lot of information. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that. So the third thing that I would always keep in my fridge is kombucha. This is one of the main drinks in our house. It's really replaced our soda addiction many, many years ago. And we are forever grateful for that, because some of the sodas that you get in the stores are so bad for you now, be it regular or diet. They're all not good for you. So kombucha's unique probiotic properties allow for more diversity in their diet, and they really assist the body in cleansing the liver. That's one of its main functions. It's really, really good at that. But it also supplies you with acetic acid, which helps your joints and digestion. And it has one of the most researched and used probiotics called Saccharomyces boulardii. And this one can't be killed because it's a probiotic yeast. It cannot be killed by antibiotics. It's a really bubbly drink that is unique. It's a fermented tea that's bubbly. And it's quite delicious. And you can make it fruit flavored. We have all these different recipes on how you can change the flavor. And you can buy at the store. If you do buy some at the store, I really recommend GT Synergy Kombucha. And I'm not getting paid to say that. I just know that he doesn't flash pasteurize his kombucha, and a lot of the new kombuchas do, because they want it to not explode on store shelves because it gets so carbonated. But he does not do that. He's a purist to the nth degree. So I like it that he has almost all of the benefits in his kombucha, and he has a lot of diversity in the flavors, and he does a really good job. And he's crazy protective of his recipes as far as how he makes them and how they turn out. He doesn't do any kind of adding. Some people will add extra carbonation to theirs that's not naturally occurring. He does not do that. And he also doesn't flash pasteurize his to get the drink to calm down. So I love that. Okay, and next one is cultured vegetables or sauerkraut. I always have it in my fridge. Actually, I have 4 jars in my fridge right now. And you can get up to 700 milligrams of vitamin C in 1 cup of fermented sauerkraut, as opposed to 60 milligrams of cabbage alone in just regular cabbage. When you ferment it, you increase the vitamin C, and we add, just a spoonful is all you really need. And a spoonful has actually more probiotics than an entire bottle of supplements, probiotic supplements. And nothing has been more effective on an upset stomach or food poisoning. A spoonful of the juice works really, really, really quickly if you have those ailments. And you'll feel the relief. And then you'll wonder why everybody doesn't know about this wonderful home remedy. It lasts for 9 months in your fridge, and it remains perfectly preserved because the good bacteria keep out all harmful bacteria. It's just kind of it ages kind of like a fine wine. It gets better with age. And I add a spoonful whenever I have a sandwich, or I put on wraps, or I put it on top of my stir-fry dish. We did that last night. I put it alongside meat and veggies. We'll make little, dips with it. We put kraut in the Kefir cheese, which I know sounds not so good, but it is so addictive. It's one of the most popular things at my class. People flip out when they try my Kefir cheese dip that has kraut in it. You can't really taste it. It just gives it this wonderful flavor. They absolutely moan when they eat it. It's so good. And I actually have a lot of different recipes for this. So check out this article and you'll see all the different dips and sauces. And I even use some of the juice to put in some of my homemade or some of my condiments I buy from the store to give them a little probiotic boost. So it's so versatile. It's so good. I love them. I use it all the time. And I will post below 7 reasons I eat cultured vegetables, give you more health benefits if you want to read more. Okay, so this is number 4, yogurts. Now, I have discovered that in certain parts of the world, yogurt and kefir have been strongly linked to those people who have been living to over 100 years old. And I've always loved yogurt. I kind of used it as a dessert. I would put a spoonful of jam in it, a little bit of whipped cream on it, and I would use it for dessert all the time. My mom used to do that, so she kind of taught me that. So kefir has more strains of good bacteria than yogurt, but I have a couple of new yogurts that we had specially designed that give you strains that are not in kefir. The first one is Ruderai, and this is such a unique. I wrote a big article about it. I did a podcast on it with the guy who developed it, and his name is Dr. Davis, and he wrote a new book that's out called Supergut, and he started researching the benefits. He's a cardiovascular surgeon, and he started finding all these benefits to Ruderai, and the yogurt manufacturers told him he couldn't make it because it was a strain that wasn't particularly made in yogurts because it didn't culture the same way other yogurts did. You had to do it at a very low temperature, like 100 Fahrenheit, and you had to do it for 36 hours because it doesn't really develop the strain in the yogurt until that time period. So at about 26 hours, Ruderai skyrockets in the yogurt. So you got to keep it in there for 36 hours, which is a long time for yogurt. But believe you me, this yogurt is to die for. And let me tell you why it's so unique. Okay, so Ruderai, 96% of the population is missing it because if you've had one antibiotic in your life, it has wiped it out. And it doesn't live in the colon like a lot of the other bacteria do. It lives in the upper gastrointestinal area. And it colonizes there, which is so helpful for people who have things like SIBO or small intestinal fungal overgrowth. They have bacteria in there that doesn't belong in there. And so what Ruderai does, because it does belong there, it has these bacteroids that go in and kill. They act like antibiotics and kill the other harmful bacteria and allow that one to proliferate. And it creates balance again because we need it. It creates oxytocin in the brain. It helps create, it makes your skin younger. It gives you more energy. It helps you control your appetite and lose weight. It helps so many different things, and we are missing it. All animals have this. All humans have it that live in remote regions of the world where they're not exposed to antibiotics and harmful chemicals. They all have it, and we're missing it. And it's causing, I believe, a little bit of havoc on people. I think that's why we are seeing a surge in SIBO, which is small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, which means that there's bacteria in that area that shouldn't belong there. Ruderai belongs there, but the other ones don't. And usually they're bad bacteria. Sometimes there are other bacteria that so they ferment and create hydrogen gas and cause all these problems in people. And fermented foods can actually make it worse because it creates more gas. So if you're having that problem, Ruderai, we developed a yogurt starter. Dr. Davis tells everybody how to do it in their book with like probiotic capsules, and then you do the same method we do where you ferment it at 100 degrees. That's really important for 36 hours. He teaches you how to do it in that book. But we also have a starter that you can just add to the milk and make this. Oh my gosh, you guys, it is the creamiest, the thickest yogurt I've ever had. It's thicker than Greek yogurt. And Greek yogurt is pretty thick, but it's really good. I was shocked at how good it was. But the health benefits are many. And I have noticed some benefits. I have noticed some changes in me since I had it. So one of the big things it does is it creates oxytocin in the brain. And that's kind of the love chemical you get after you have a baby or when you're in love. And I noticed I haven't been near as reactive because I've had some things happen to me this last week that were negative in nature and kind of very alarming. And yet they didn't seem to knee-jerk me quite as much as normal. So there's a calmness. I feel calmer than I used to. So is it the L-Reader? I don't know. Who knows if it is, but I might keep taking it because first of all, it's delicious. So what I do is I blend it with a little bit with my Kiefer in the morning with some fruit. Oh my gosh, guys, it's so good. So that's one yogurt. So I have that in my fridge, and that's really fun for like a treat too in the afternoon or for after dinner for dessert. And then we also developed another yogurt called Yogurt Plus. And the reason we did this, I haven't even really launched it yet, so you guys would be the first to hear about it. The reason we did this because here's the thing. You guys need more bifidobacterium in your life, okay? There's a lot of different strains of it, but you need the particular strains that really keep you young, keep you healthy. You get this when you're born, okay? And your mother gives it to you, and they call it the young bacteria. And then as you age, you lose it. And so I have taught people how to increase this by taking something called HMOs, which are human milk oleosaccharides. Even though there's not really human milk in it, it's a fermented process. This increases your bifidobacteria. It's the best way to do it. And then I made a yogurt strain that had bifido in it to keep that strain healthy and strong because I wanted it. I think they're both fabulous products. And do you have to have them? Well, it depends on what you're seeking. I love the way it makes me feel. The more bifido I have, the younger I feel, the more energy I have, the more I want to do things, the better everything works. And so as I've gotten older, I know that Kiefer doesn't have that. So when I started building up my bifido again with HMOs and taking this yogurt, I saw, you guys, my energy went through the roof. So that's why I've done this, because I want to learn about all the diversity species in my gut, and especially the ones that were missing, like Ruderai and bifido that had declined. I want to learn that, and I wanted to understand what's really happening inside of me and the health benefits, but the feeling, just the fact that the way that I'm feeling, I know that they're helping me so much. So yes, I love Kiefer. It is my absolute favorite, but I really am digging these two yogurts too, because they are making such a difference in energy too and helping me. I already feel pretty good. But anyway, it's fun to have these around. Everybody in my family is eating it and loving it. Actually, I made 4 quarts 2 days ago and then 2 or 3 quarts the next day because everybody's eating and really enjoying because it tastes so good. All of these, And Yogurt Plus tastes fantastic. It's kind of like a Greek yogurt too. It's not quite as thick as El Ruderai, but it's delicious. So, okay, so this sounds like a big sales pitch, but it really isn't. It's just because I just love bacteria. I want all the strains. I do. I think they make a difference. Each one of them does something different. And they teach me so much about my body, and they do give you more energy and more love. And you can really feel the difference when you start to change your microbiome. So I just think it's fun for me too. And I thought I knew a lot, but the older I get and the more I learn, the more I realize I've just touched the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the trillions of microbes that live in us. And anyway, I'm very excited about these yogurts just because, well, they give me a dessert. And by the way, you can even make these into ice cream, and they are so delicious. I'm going to have to come up with these recipes and write them out for you. But they make fantastic, because you want treats. You got to have something to live. We've got a lot of birthdays this month and next month. And so this is my new thing. I want to start using some of these yogurts like I do Kefir cheese. I do Kefir cheese too. Put them in the ice cream and make creamy, delicious desserts for us. And also increase our microbiome diversity and help us to live longer and younger and better. So that's the reason I love yogurts so much. And I've always loved yogurts, but I didn't think they gave me as many beneficial bacteria as Kefir. So I mostly had Kefir. But now I have yogurts that have specific bacteria that Kefir doesn't have. So I love that. So that's my little pitch. So, okay, the next one is fermented garlic. This is so cool. You just take the little cloves and you stick them in water and you put a little culture and you let them culture and then you stick them in your fridge and they last for months. You can use them in all kinds of recipes. You can eat them if you have a cold and it really knocks it out, gives you lots of benefits. You make them so easily that we just always keep a jar in our fridge. We also have a fermented garlic and honey that's fantastic. And it's so good for people who are sick or have colds because the honey, they taste delicious. They don't taste like garlic, but it lasts a very, very long time in your cupboard. And it just stays perfectly preserved because of the honey. And it has so many health benefits. We use some of these fermented garlic, the fermented garlic, and we have the fermented garlic and honey. You can use them in salad dressings and sauces, and they're just fantastic. And my daughter Macy especially loves these. She uses them all the time. Okay, and the next one, water kefir soda. Such a wonderful substitute for soda pop. We always have it. My birthday was last week, so we always have kombucha, kefir soda, or water kefir as a special drink. We always make special flavors all the time so that we could have some special things to drink with our little celebrations that we have. And there's two ways to make it. You can use water kefir crystals, which are little crystals like kefir grain crystals, but they're clear and translucent, and they make water kefir. And you just put them in water with sugar, and it eats the sugar out and makes the drink bubbly, and then you can flavor it. And we also have something called kefir soda, which you just put juice in a bottle with half water, half juice, add the culture, let it ferment for a few days, and you have this incredibly bubbly soda. And you can use a portion of that bottle to make another bottle and another bottle and another bottle. I think I made 46 bottles off of the first batch. I just kept using the one from the previous batch and it would take less than a day to make it. In the beginning, it takes a little longer to make the first bottle, but you can so basically you just fill a 32-ounce bottle, half with juice and half with water, and add this starter, and it makes the most delicious soda in the world, and it's so good for you. Now, another thing I always have in my fridge is my Kabucha Mayo, and it takes 20 seconds to make it, so don't freak out. It's not hard. I don't like any of the mayos in the grocery stores. They usually use soybean oils or canola oils, and I don't like those oils. And oils stay in your cells, guys. Carbohydrates burn off, but oils become a part of your cells, and so it's really important that you have good oils in your diet. So I started making this mayo, which is so good. And now I make a Sriracha Mayo because everybody in my family wants Sriracha, or a Chipotle Mayo. I've got all different kinds now. But basically all you do is you just put 4 ingredients in a jar and you use an immersion blender. And in 20 seconds you have mayo. And then you stick it in your fridge and it gets really creamy. And it's the same texture as regular mayo. and it's so much better for you. I even have an avocado oil mayo that's really good. It has a little bit, it has a really mild flavor. It tastes exactly like real mayo. And sometimes you can flavor these mayos. I put sriracha in some of them. They all taste so good. I love them. I love all of them. They all have different things that I need, different things that I want. And so those are the 8 things that I have in my fridge all the time. And often I have several of these items, many of them, all at once in my fridge. Like I have maybe 2 mayos in my fridge. Yeah, I have a sriracha and I have a avocado mayo, sriracha mayo, and a chipotle mayo right now that I've got that are the Kabucha Mayos. And I just flavored them differently. So I also have a lot of kombucha salad dressings and kind of a creamy salad dressings that I make with kombucha mayo. So I always have salad dressing in my fridge that are homemade. And guys, they take me like less than 3 minutes to make these. And they're all on my website too. So those are some of my favorite foods that I always keep in my fridge. I'm really excited about some of the new ones because it's really fun for me to find new things that help my gut, especially as we get older and people are trying to tell you that you're going to, decline as you age. And I haven't found that to be true. So, but I also take good care of myself and my microbes take good care of me because I take good care of them. So, your gut microbiome does everything, guys. It does so many things that you're not even aware of. And so taking care of them is a huge part of my everyday life. And I love it, but I always make it delicious and I always make it fun. And I try to always make it very, very easy because I'm busy too. So anyway, so that is my podcast for this week. I hope it helps you. Check out all the recipes. Check what you're interested in. There's a lot of information on there. But check what most interests you. That's something you usually need. And we will see you next week. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it.